Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here with us this morning. We appreciate your loyal viewership. Let's take a look at our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs, and boy, is it hot. And we're going to talk about that later. High today, 94. Low's going to be actually down to 80. Okay. The big deal is our water temperature at the end of the pier. Last Friday, our water temperature, I looked back on it, it was 83 degrees last Friday. Today, it's 87.4, almost 88 degrees. So that, you're talking about a warm current coming in, and it really, this past weekend, I was checking on fishing reports, hardly anybody caught anything. I heard of one person catching some redfish, and boy, everybody else was looking around saying, what in the world? And it was hot. Okay, moving on, our river readings brought to us by the good folks at Panama City Coca-Cola. Apalachicola plunged down a 5.3. It's pretty even, pretty smooth all next week, it looks like. We'll get some rain coming in later, so it's probably going to pick it up later. But Choctaw Caraville, it's reading a 2.8, and again, it's steady. Both rivers are steady. Not a lot going on as far as going up and down. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today, July the 22nd. Strong tide, really strong tide this week. We got a low tide, high tide, they flipped now. High tide is 8:08 this morning. It's going out till about 7:23 tonight. Strong outgoing tide. I noticed it yesterday. I walked down by the water, and that low tide is really low this week and all, so be aware of that. Marine forecast brought to us by Laranto Copy Company, Ariel Payne's company, and we're looking at how about west-northwest at about 10 to 15. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I mentioned during the weather about it being hot. I just want to reiterate what I was talking about. I went fishing a couple times last week, and I tell people I go with, in my opinion, the two worst months of the year to fish are really July and August, because it's so hot. But I know you can catch fish in, and especially if you're going right in the right spot, and you go when they're biting. But it's really just really hot. But sometimes the circumstances are in a situation where you have people coming in. Mason had a buddy from his college and high school. He wanted to take fishing, and then also had a chance to go on the river with somebody. That's the only day we could go. So I went both times, but it was just so hot. I want to reiterate about being careful and make sure you have hats and sunglasses and loose clothing and sun protection. We've talked about it over and over again. But make sure you drink plenty of water. Now, I got water here. I already finished my coffee, but make sure you drink plenty of water and just try to stay cool, even with battery-powered fans. But really about 10 o'clock, around 10-ish or 11-ish for sure, I'm getting out of there. I went about 11 this past week, last week, but we want to get out of there. I also ran into, talking about the woods, ran into Doug Chapman Sunday after church, and he was talking about he was headed up to the lease to getting the land ready. I said, man, be careful up there. You folks going up to the woods and everything, don't get too hot in the middle of the day. But woods and water. I also wrote down on sun protection. My middle granddaughter Ashley, she was visiting some friends over in Gulf Shores, and they all had stuff on. They all stay protected as much as young girls can. But they put some stuff on the lip, but it didn't help. In fact, it exasperated. It made it a little bit worse. Their lip burn because it was not protection. It was for sunburn afterwards. So make sure you know what you're putting on your skin. As much as she knows the outdoors. And also, make sure you protect your feet if you have got flip-flops on. But anyway, we're going to, let's see, we're going to make sure we don't want to get sunburned. Okay, let's look at some pictures. I've got all kinds of things to talk about today. This one right here. I ran across this. Here's a guy in a boat, or they in a boat, going down the creek. That's one of Feeder Creek in Florida. Once it's gone, there's no bringing back the wild heart of Florida. And again, that's one of our, we talk about this almost every day because we have to, because we've got to make people aware of it. How about Brenda Rogers Not every day you catch a flounder big enough to cover the bottom of a 48-quart cooler on the dead lakes. How about that? Especially on a little brim hook. Now, isn't that amazing? That's a dead lake flounder. And we talk about how the flounder go up the river, they just work their way up river, and went all the way up to dead lakes. Good job, Brenda. Alec Coatrus, I know Alec, he's talking about, these days what life is about. Just me and my boy fishing ponds on a John boat. Now look at this series of pictures. He got the boys out in their own little fishing a pond. And these ponds, we talk about them all the time, how beautiful these ponds are. And so they're fishing. Okay, got a little boy fishing. He's looking around on the lake, and then they're driving back on an old country road. And of course, while they're fishing, they see this big old gator while they're fishing. And that's the same picture. And then on the way back, he worn out. How many times we've seen a kid fall asleep after an outdoor trip? And that's what you want them to do. Okay, this is David Bird sent this. Check this out. This is on their property. He and Becky Bird, that's a mom and two of their cubs, and those cubs are healthy. All three look healthy this time of year. The coat's big and colorful. You know, we showed this yesterday, a bear over there in Santa Rosa. But check this out. This is in backyard bears. She's standing up looking around and see what's going on, make sure everything's okay for the cubs. Okay, I've got this. I'll show this one. Let's see. Okay, talking about mosquitoes in Florida. Let me mention this. I don't know about y'all. I haven't really mosquitoes this summer haven't been that bad to me. I don't know if because I'm not going out late in the afternoon or early in the morning, which I am, but I just haven't had a lot of bad mosquitoes swarming like we normally have in the past. I mentioned that to Gail the other day. I don't know if y'all have, but the mosquito bites haven't been bad, and sand gnats have not been bad. I know we've had a lot of breezy weather that's been keeping them down, so maybe they're on a decline in outdoors. But be aware of them. But they are healthy when they come around. I got a little thing about this big. I've got a picture of a mosquito, and it's called a Florida state bird, about that big. So be aware of that. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. You know, we talked to Sea Quarters this past Friday, and they had that big kids tournament going on, and it was the 21st year of the kids tournament, and I just so excited about that. Small community puts on such a great tournament with so many kids fishing and have all kinds of categories. So I did get some pictures. I'm gonna go through the pictures. I don't know a lot of names, but we'll get started, and let's see what we got. Look at the shirts. Sea Quarters Marina Youth Fishing Tournament. There's a group of volunteers there. They just did a great job as far as taking care of everything and feeding them. And just, I want you to look, as we go through these pictures, look at the joy on these kids' faces. They're all kind of fish. Here's some of here's the Waymasters. I'm sure there's some really close calls there, but you can see there on the porch, there's Dad and the son. Some trout. They have some Spanish. There's nice trout there. They all got those T-shirts on. Check it out. Look at there. I just got a kick out of it. Little girl there. You think they're going to remember this? That's got to be her little twin sister. And they're all sizes, all fish counted. It doesn't matter. But this is how a community does something like this. When you take the kids fishing, and of course they're in a great area, but they take advantage of the area they live in. Look at those little fish. The size don't matter. That's a nice little redfish. I don't know if I guess that's legal. I'm sure it is, but this is a tradition. They do such a good job with it. I really appreciate them. Look at that nice redfish there. You can see it on the porch. And they had some, they were cooking some hamburgers and hot dogs, with big old smiles on their face. You think they're happy? Got the goggles on. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all of them there. Let me go back to, I was going to show you, let me get the leaderboard. I got tickled at the leaderboard here because they had okay, here it is right here. Let's show you the sponsors first. Here are the sponsors. All these people, different one sponsors, but look at the third one, top left, the third one down. The First Baptist Church, they help and sponsor it. They know how important it is, and all the people, there's a lot of local people sponsoring it. And then this right here, I don't know. We didn't get the weights, but here's all the names, all the different kids. But look at the category: Spanish, croaker. Look at the flounder. There's only one flounder that was caught. Of course, the ladyfish, they're all over the place. Everybody catches them. Trout, pinfish, catfish, black sea bass. But you know, there was not a category for redfish. I don't know what they did. Was that a special category? And anyway, my hat's off to the folks at Sea Quarters and the community for doing something like that. It's really good. We're talking about one of the things I wanted to mention. Right here, this is a turkey magazine, National Wild Turkey Federation right here, called Turkey Call. Well done magazine. You know how we talk about how the quality of magazines are so good and they're on the decline as far as distribution and people reading them, but these organizations do such a good job with it. And I'm not a big turkey hunter. I love to go and all. I just never get a chance. I'm so busy. But I like to read some articles. I don't read all of them, but this article right here said, can you see it? Attract and hold wildlife with a steady water source. I was talking about the heat and how hot it is for all of us. But you think about the animals and everything's dry, and they have to really find the water. And of course, if it's in a natural area where you have a stream coming in, they can do it. But in a lot of these areas where it's flat and a lot of trees and everything, they don't have it. It recommended, if you can, build some kind of retaining pond. And we've talked about that before, not necessarily a retaining pond, but just something to catch the water in the lowest area of your property. And ideally, and this makes a lot of sense, because we live in a lot of sandy soil, it's going to soak through. So if you can mix in, add some clay hauled in and some kind of composite that's hard, it's going to hold the water, and that way your pond will hold the water longer. And I thought about that. And it could just be a rain pond, but I thought, what a great idea to help attract the animals, not just the deer and all, but all the animals would be good. Let me see. I want to get caught up with, okay, let's go to right. I think you'll appreciate this. I ran across this. The Johnson Motors, the 1972 price list. Okay, here's the price. And a lot of folks in those days, had that 4 horsepower and 6 horsepower. And it was the long shaft, but you look on the right-hand side. But what tickled me, the handwriting on the left side, I think that's probably what the dealer, the lowest price he could sell it for, or either that's what he was making off of it. But I think that might have been his cost. I'm just not sure. I'm not a retail person, but the prices and all the way down, the bills on up, bottom left, 25 horsepower, $740. And then they got a lot of 40 horse, and they were doing electric start also, was just coming in. And that was a big deal in those days, in the 60s and 70s, to have electric start. In fact, right there, that increased it about $200. Anyway, those days are gone. That was quite some time ago. Talking about doing things for kids, this is, if you have any kinfolks over there in South Georgia, the FCA Outdoors Extravaganza, the guest speaker is going to be Jimmy Houston. It's going to be the Deep South Fairgrounds, and I could not find where that is. I think it's somewhere around Albany, but it's a great idea if you get a bunch of girls and guys together for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And Jimmy Houston will be talking. That's going to be a good get-together. We need some of those right here in the Panhandle. Okay. I'll come back to that. I had to send it. This is, okay. That's my sweetheart, and this little dog here. Let me tell you the story behind this dog. This Ashley, our middle granddaughter, she lives right across the road from us now, and we've turned into a dog sitter. When she goes to work, we'll sort of look after the dog. Of course, you become attached to it. I've never been a little dog person, but I've always been a Labrador and bird dog kind of person. But Those little dogs, they have their own personality. And we were down at the Cape last week, and Ashley was out of town visiting some friends, so we were dog sitting. So, you know, I know y'all know what I'm talking about when you're dog sitting. And I got to looking around, talking to people and everything. People get paid for dog sitting big time. I had no idea there was such a market for dog sitters. I know you have kennels you can put them in, and but people individually dog sitting is a big deal. So we've been taking. His name is Maverick, and he has his own. You know how dogs are. Y'all have been dog people before. And we would. Let's close out this segment with this one right here, because this is so true. You can always make more money, but you'll never get more time. And the older I get, and the older you get, I know we realize that what is so precious now is the time we can spend with family and friends, because it don't matter how much money you have if you don't have that good quality of time with your family and friends. And a lot of times centered around the outdoor activities and the Sunday dinners. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a quick look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers at Port St. Joe. Our time this morning, 8:50 to 10:50, and it's tonight at 10:21 to 12:21. I looked at all kinds of things like I showed you yesterday from ICast, and the one that just really touched my heart and really grabbed me was this one here, and I want to talk about it first. Steve Harvey, y'all know Steve Harvey from all the game shows, and if you read about his history, he's just a great guy. He had some struggles as a young man, like so many people, and he was down at ICast, had a Bass Pro Shop cap on, and he comes up, and he check this out. He goes up, here's Beer. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get okay. Bill Dance. He wants to see Bill Dance. Okay, so he sees him. Bill Dance is at a booth. They hug each other. They both have a lot of mutual respect for each other. And let's see. Let's get it going. And they started talking. Well, okay, I don't have the sound here. If you get a chance to go listen to him, he's telling him. Steve Harvey is telling him, man. He said, as a young man, he said, you got me into fishing. Okay, that's what he's saying right now. And he said, I had some struggles. He said, 3 years I lived out of my car. I would go to Circuit City and have them turn the TV on Bill Dance show and learn how to fish by watching your show at a TV at Circuit City when I lived in my car. Now, is that not an amazing story? And Bill Dance said, man, he's telling that story right now. And Bill Dance tells him, man, let's go fishing. I want to take you fishing. He said, that's what, it's just not a classic, and man, I want to take you fishing. And so, all right, so they're ready to go fishing. So is that not a great, I just warmed my heart. And I wish you could hear him tell the story about how he was able to learn how to fish. And you stop and think about that. He lived out of his car for a couple of years. And he said he wanted to catch a fish. We weren't talking about a sport of it. He wanted to catch fish to eat, so to have something to eat. He could cook fish, and he learned how to. He went to Circuit City, had him turn the TV on to go to that. I just thought that was an amazing story right there. Okay, got some more pictures. Anyway, let's go on down to. Let me see. Okay, we got all these. Let me see. Let me get caught up. Okay, this was good. James Spann, I have him, I follow him a lot. This is up in Elba, Alabama at a country club. We were talking about lightning last week. There's a little video, I just took a picture of it. They took the video right after the lightning hit. And first thing you look at, how about a single tall tree in the middle of an area? Is that where lightning is not going to hit? Boom, just like that. And fortunately, no one was hurt, no one was around it, but it showed it burning and all. Christian Alden camp. He takes Alden fishing charters. He had a fine trip. He took some. He's over there from Callaway. He's a fine fisherman. Took some kids fishing the other day. Look at the size of those fish. Okay, let me go back and get the names of these kids. I think I got their names. Let me see. Okay, I don't have their name. Okay, here's one I really want to make sure I get it in, because here's a good buddy of mine. How about, this is from Tony Brandon. Hey, Coach, Captain Billy Archer and Jimmy did not disappoint this last Friday in rough seas. My family and friends had a great time on the Seminole wind and came back with a nice limit. People add these on the show, please. And then down here, going on down, Captain Bill and Jimmy worked hard for their clients. They're just great people. That's true. Thanks, Coach. The group picture and others of my son Garrett on the right and my good friend Matt Inslee on the left, who showed us up and caught the 2 biggest fish. All right, let's look at these pictures here. That's not 2 fine fish right there. I know that was, and here's a group picture here. That was a fun trip. Even on rough seas, you're still gonna have a good time with Billy and gonna catch some good fish. So, Tony Brandon, glad y'all win. Glad you had a good time going. Okay. Also, this is nice. He added this. This is a nice grouper that Dad landed, but heartbreaking to have to release it. And that's true. Grouper season is not open now. We've got another month or so, but that is a fine grouper. That would make a lot of good grouper sandwiches right there. Good to catch it. Okay. Okay, if you got a buddy like some of my buddies, you try to hide this, but when you land a fish in front of your buddy, you turn around and do that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I want to share this with you. This is my handwriting. Wendy is going to put in a little bit of an outdoor ed class in Port St. Joe, but they can't call it outdoor ed because, so I sent this to her. I'm going to talk more about it, but we can't call it outdoor ed. But I'm going to talk more about this later. And Billy Grantham posted this. And stop and think about it. 6 months ago, we were in a winter of snow. We were doing this 6 months ago. Is that hard to believe, as hot as it is now? But, okay, back then we didn't have a water park, but we had the rope swing at the lake. And I know so many of us were able to do that. Okay, so that's enough of that. I do want to talk about the outdoor ed stuff and all. We'll get it in more schools as we go along, and I really want to encourage you to encourage your folks at your school system to put it in. Don't take no for an answer. It can be done, I promise you. I've seen it done in 12 different schools. 13 coming on with St. Joe. Okay, I got to wrap it up. Thank y'all for watching. Got a big show tomorrow. Got some guests coming in, so good video tomorrow. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and let's take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.